also mentioned that they torture their characters. They like rip the heart out of their characters. Can you discuss a little bit about that and use some examples of how they do it and why they do it?
They torture them, but they torture them in a very, very specific way, in a way that's very, very tailor-made. Like, if you want to think about Up, maybe when they say torture, you're thinking about that opening sequence, which is very tragic and very sad. But that's not an example of what I'm talking about.
No.
The way they torture Carl in Up is by giving him a kid who's upbeat, a kid who has these selfless values, and a kid that needs him, right?
And who's literally a Boy Scout.
Literally a Boy Scout, right? Yeah. Because all Carl wants after that opening is to be left alone. I think in many ways, he's dead, right?
Right.
He's breathing, he's alive, but he's dead. And he's stuck with this kid who forces him to sort of act in the world. And then when you get to the bad guy, I'm blanking on his name, who wants to kill this exotic bird, who wants to hurt Russell, is like he is forced to find a new purpose, to live again. And that's sort of what I mean when I say torture, right? Marlon meeting Dory is what saves him, but it's also a form of torture.
Oh.
Because, exactly, right? She just wants to go this and do that and not think ahead and be reckless and talk to the whale. And he's like, no, this is not how we do things, right? It's these very smart ways of torturing their characters. Like you know, if you cut someone's leg, if you put them in danger, every character would suffer from that, right? Again, Toy Story, getting a new favorite toy in Toy Story 1. In Toy Story 2, they have this great mechanism where he's given a chance to be in a museum, right? And he's like, oh, you will be respected forever. You will never have to worry about being thrown away or donated, right? They set it up in the beginning of the movie with a character that's put on the shelf. And then you'll be in a museum, but you'll never have an owner.
No one will ever play with you.
With Andy again. And that's a torturous choice, right? That's something that's very hard. So they keep finding those ways.
So really quickly, I don't mean to interrupt you, but because before I forget, normally everything we've been talking about is you're basically giving the main character its opposite. It's yin to its yang. But with that specific example of Woody in Toy Story 2, it's not a person, which is a yin and a yang. It's his want is a yin and a yang, meaning he wants to be played with. But boy, being, encased and never have to worrying about being discarded again and being revered and honored for the rest of his life is the opposite of being played and thrown away with. Is that accurate?
I think it's McKee calls this either the lesser of two evils or the greater of two goods, which I think is always a very good way to approach dilemmas and choices, because if it's being played with or not being played with, Woody has a simple answer to that, right? But what they do really well is stack the deck in a way that's a very hard choice, and then the choice comes down to values. There's this lovely moment where Buzz is trying to convince him to come back, where Woody brushes off the new coat of paint that's on his shoe to reveal Andy's name. Mm-hmm. And that's like, oh, and Woody goes, and we go, oh, that's right, that's who you are. That's what your values are. And they also give him Jessie, who suffered the same thing he did, but she's just like 2 shades on the spectrum more extreme. She's like, screw owners, I don't ever want an owner again. You can trust them. So she's sort of pulling him in that direction.
It's so brilliant.
Yeah, it just all works to serve the core dramatic question, the core idea, the core flaw. It's a funnel. Everything they add is going through a funnel to the very core of their story and of that character.
Yeah, Toy Story 2 is basically the Godfather 2 of animation. because it basically, when I saw it, I was like, well, I can't believe they made it better than Toy Story 1, and they did. In my opinion, I think Toy Story 2 is even better than 1, even though 1 is amazing. Toy Story 2 just hits on that's just a song alone. Just
if only Godfather 3 was like Toy Story 3.
Hey, not so much.